If you have a property insurance claim, do you need a professional? Do you need an attorney or a public adjuster? Do you need to hire a contractor? Or do you hire the insurance company's vendor or contractor? Most likely not. I hope you never have a loss like this example, but let's say you finally get to go on that dream vacation. You get to the perfect destination. You just get settled in when your neighbors call and advise there's water running out of your home. You ask them to shut off the water and tell them where the spare key is. You ask them to turn off the breakers. You immediately start trying to arrange travel home, and you receive this video. You notify your insurance company of the loss, and upon getting home, the insurance company's adjuster advises to use their water mitigation company. Upon the arrival of their water mitigation company, the adjuster shows up. Quickly you see he's directing them what to do and what not to do. Aren't there standards for this? You contact a contractor and the adjuster meets with him. Although when you review the estimate that was produced, you notice many things are missing or not included. You contact your contractor and are advised that the adjuster advised not to include these things. As the carrier advised, these items are excluded. What do you do? I'm here to answer these questions because most likely you want to know what the insurance company is going to do before you hire anyone. My name is Martin Fry. I have been a public adjuster for over 20 years. I have serviced many states. I'm currently licensed in 3 or 4, and I've done work in over 3 countries. I'm going to tell you the truth before you hire an expert. You may not need one. Let's start with attorneys. Are all attorneys created equal? I think not. There's generally 2 types of attorneys that you're going to run into with an insurance claim. First-party attorneys or third-party attorneys. The majority are third-party attorneys. These are the personal injury attorneys that advertise all the time on TV. Unfortunately, these guys, many times without experience, jump into the first-party arena whenever a devastating storm happens. And they advertise all over the TV, "Have you been damaged? We'll help you." I've seen these attorneys take up to 40% for an insurance appraisal that could have been handled for a fraction of that cost by other professionals and not do a very good job of it. I'm not saying all these guys are bad guys, but you need to know who you're hiring and what exactly they're going to do before you hire them. See, most policies these days have what is called an appraisal clause. An appraisal clause basically says if you and we disagree as to the amount of the loss, either party may choose an appraisal. Each party chooses their own appraiser, the 2 appraisers choose an umpire, and a decision by any 2 is a legal and binding decision. Many companies are trying to get away from the expense of litigation and are turning to alternative dispute resolutions and putting them in their policy. You have to be careful on who you're hiring because you'll end up with a bunch of fees that may not be necessary. Now, don't get me wrong. There is definitely a place and time for attorneys. In my personal opinion, you need an attorney when the carrier is delaying or denying your claim and there is a clear ability for litigation, or if you need to seek legal advice. I will add, I am not an attorney and nothing in this video is meant to give legal advice. While litigation may become a necessary tool in gaining proper recovery in an insurance claim, in all the claims I have handled over the past 20 years, I have not had a single claim go all the way to trial. I am not saying litigation has not been a utilized tool, but every single claim I've ever handled has been resolved in mediation or prior to mediation. This does not mean insurance companies do not try cases. Insurance companies typically have a fleet of attorneys, and they're not scared to try a case. They take them to court all the time. This just means I don't believe they think they'd win my cases, so they're not about to take them to trial. An example of this, after the '04 hurricane season, I had been retained by a large condominium complex. We were retained by the developer, and while this was an unusual situation, as typically the association takes over the common areas of a condominium once the units are sold, in this property, the developer retained the common areas, being there were bars and stores and restaurants located on the premises, and he maintained ownership. After my primary investigation, I advised the developer that they had significant damage, although I felt it would be best if the claim was brought forth by both the association and the developer as a united front. The developer advised this may be of issue because there was already a dispute between the association and the developer, and there was ongoing litigation. But after receiving his authorization, I still proceeded to move forward and talk to the association. Unfortunately, the association seen no interest in dealing with me, as they felt I was an extension of the developer, and they retained their own public adjuster. When this happened, I went ahead and just bowed out, as I did not feel a necessity to have two public adjusters on this claim. Nearly 10 years after this, I was contacted by an attorney advising that he represented the developer and the condominium association, and that this claim was about to go to trial, and that they wished to retain me as an expert. I was surprised. I had never had a claim linger this long. All of my claims had been settled years ago from that event. I agreed, and I found my file. My deposition was scheduled, and the trial was to start the following month. In my deposition, I learned that the other public adjusting firm had only made claim for about half the amount that I would have sought. And I advised the insurance company's attorney he should have taken the deal. Apparently, as a result of my deposition, the insurance company felt it to be in their interest and requested a second mediation and postponement of the trial. The claim was inevitably resolved in mediation without a trial. Things to consider when hiring an attorney. Do they have experience with your type of claim? Have they handled first-party claims before, and are they familiar with the laws, rules, and regulations? Will that attorney work for the court-awarded fees? Are attorney's fees collectible in your state from the carrier? What will the attorney do for you? Will they have professionals estimate your damage? And will they guide you through the process to seek the maximum recovery? Is the attorney concerned about his paycheck or your recovery? Has this attorney handled issues that are similar to yours, and what is the time frame for the outcome? Ask to talk to similar clients that have had similar claims and talk to them about their thoughts on how this attorney did with their claim. Please don't just give an attorney 20 to 40% of your claim and receive only partial recovery. What is a public adjuster? A public adjuster is a claims adjuster that works only for the insured, or you. When the insurance company sends their company adjuster, he is their adjuster. There are two types of adjusters that work for insurance companies. One is the company adjuster, the other is an independent adjuster. Both of these adjusters have a fiduciary duty to the insurance company and only the insurance company's interests at heart. Similar to the insurance company's claim adjuster, the PA should inspect the loss analyze the damages, work with you on gaining claim support documentation, determine the current replacement costs, and compile the claim completely for presentation to the insurance carrier. A public adjuster should know how to investigate, document, and get claims resolved with the maximum recovery. Many of these companies just wish to see how many contracts they can sign. They know that once their contract is signed, they are entitled to a percentage of your collection. It doesn't matter whether you get a small collection, because they're still entitled to their percentage of the collection. And it's a numbers game. It's an annuity to them. There are actually instructional videos for public adjusters on YouTube that you can search and find, advising of the same, and asserting an 80% recovery as a good recovery. All public adjusters are not created equal. There are public adjusters that are honest and competent and will seek 100% of your damages, plus all fees and costs that become recoverable by implementing all the tools available to them. In approximately 70% of my claims, the insurance company ends up bearing most of our fees and not the insured. The primary reason for this is we rarely get involved until a dispute has risen. Now, before I get a bunch of hate mail, there are excellent public adjusters, company adjusters, and independent adjusters. Many of these are in fact concerned about insureds. That is why I'm doing these videos, to advise insureds of the unscrupulous ones, the ones that feel they need to get involved before a dispute has even arose. You need to first give the insurance company a reasonable opportunity to do what you purchased. Most public adjusters learned about public adjusting from working in insurance companies. Most of them have either been a company adjuster or independent adjuster. Some of them may have just worked in the mailroom of an insurance company to learn what a public adjuster was. The one concern I have is many of them are chasing the dollar and not concerned with the insureds. Some PAs are absolutely terrific, and as I said before, I believe there is a necessity for public adjusters in many claims. Public adjusters can make hundreds, if not thousands of percent of difference in the collection you receive from a loss. After the hurricanes in Florida of 2004 and 2005, public adjusters went from a few hundred to several thousand. Some of these were chasing the dollar. Some of them may have seen a problem and were trying to fix it. Some of them went back to work at McDonald's. The unfortunate thing is, without properly interviewing and knowing who you're hiring, you could hire the wrong person. I believe you should do the following prior to retaining an attorney. Here is an example of what I would recommend to do when hiring a public adjuster. Inquire as to their caseload, how many cases they have, how busy they are. Request local references and contact the references. Follow up, see if they're happy, see if their case is settled or their contract was just signed. Find out if they have experience with your type of claim. Have them explain your coverages in accordance with your policy. Have them give you an idea of the amount of recovery that you should be able to recover. Have them give you an explanation of your damages, the guidelines and requirements that must be followed to provide for proper restoration. Have them explain the restoration standards that are applicable to your loss, and inquire if they have any certifications in these fields. Get an idea of the anticipated time frame for resolution they have previously retained in similar. Have them explain what percentage of the amount they document they typically make collection for their insureds. Have them explain if their fees may become payable by your insurance carrier and what percentage of the time this occurs. Inquire as to their experiences with your specific carrier. Inquire if they carry E&O insurance. E&O insurance is errors and omissions. True professionals always carry errors and omissions insurance. I can give you an example of what I do when a new potential client contacts me. I will discuss their loss over the phone to first see what the issues are and see if my services are even necessary for their claim. If I believe they are, then I will ask them to please fax or email a copy of their policy, including all communications, documentation, and anything else that they have provided the insurance company or that they have received from the insurance company. I will also ask them for any other documentation they have, including any estimates they have obtained. Upon my review of all this documentation, I will be able to advise them whether I can assist in their claim or whether my assistance is even necessary. This way, when I go out to view the loss, I will be able to advise the insureds of exactly what I believe their claim is and the recoveries that are able to be sought in their claim. I have seen public adjusters asserting on YouTube that once they've seen one policy from a carrier, they're familiar with all policies from a carrier. I believe this to simply be untrue. I have seen the same type of policy issued within few weeks of one another that have significant differences. As a result, I always review the policy that is purchased for that loss so that I can advise the insureds of the exact coverages that they can make collection under. Please check out my other videos. Soon I will be making a video on contractors and roofers, insurance company contractors, and insurance company vendors to provide further information so that you can assure you get indemnified properly. Please subscribe to this channel. If you like it, please click. If you dislike anything in this video, please click the dislike and tell us why. Tell me what I can do better or tell me what I need to provide information on. We have a website, insurancehelpfl.com. Thank you for your time today.